Well, this will be the only time we ever talk about this topic on the channel, but what the hell? We've done worse. Let's get into it, shall we? Prolific voice actor Steve Blum endorses the Proud Family louder and prouder. Reparations call. Says anti-woke rhetoric is dangerous and divisive. Okay, this coming from the people who want basically resegregation. This is the thing. Now, back in the day, the Democrats used to call, segregation. It was, they had they had separate water fountains and separate buildings and things for, black people. And now the Democrats just call them spaces for people of color and clap like seals and be like, look at what we did for you. Look what we did for you. You do realize these are all white leftists pushing these things, right? Malcolm X said it right and said it best, and he said the biggest danger to the black man is the white liberal, and he was absolutely right. Except they're Marxists. They're not liberals. Liberal is derivative from liberty, which classical liberals want. These are Marxists. So yeah, this resegregation, separating everybody, boiling everybody down to what's between their legs or what their skin color is pretty disgusting. And this whole anti-woke rhetoric is dangerous and divisive is hilarious. And it's not that woke means consciously or spiritually awakened anymore. That's not what it means. No, it's been hijacked, and it's this Marxism. It's Marxism now. That's what it is. It's social Marxism, and it's meant to demoralize the population because it makes people easier to control when they're depressed and demoralized. Look at the last 3 years, folks. How easily the smooth-brained were turned against common sense and logic and reason and science when they were told to follow the science, but the science kept changing because it moved like a goalpost. Let's get into this article, shall we? Though it may have been written off as most anything from shameless activism to outright propaganda, the recent call for slavery reparations has made Disney's The Proud Family louder and prouder, has been answered by at least one individual, voice actor Steve Blum.
He's a real douche.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is Steve Blum. This is Steve Blum. This is the man calling for reparations, folks. What did I say? What did I say? It's always the white leftists that start the cry. I mean, this is just, I can't make this stuff up. I really can't. But yeah, this guy, yeah, white leftists, always.
I guess that's par for the course.
The moment in question occurs at the climax of the 13th episode of the Disney Plus Revival's second season, Curved.
What is this crap?
Therein, seeking to solidify a win for their school debate team, Penny and her team perform a slam poetry number in support of their position. Black people should receive reparations from the United States government in order to apologize for once engaging in the practice of slavery. You see, the problem is that there's more slavery around the world now than there ever was before. And if we really want to get down to the root of slavery, well, we're going to have to go back to Africa and start taking reparations from certain tribes and giving them to other tribes or their descendants, because that's kind of how it started. But hey, the Woman King did its best to try to erase that with revisionist history and make the Dahomey tribe not to look like the monstrous slavers that they were. And they also sacrificed more of their captives than any other tribe. So there's that.
Just saying.
This country was built on slavery, begins the group, which means slaves built this country, tilled this land from sea to sea to sea. First there was tobacco, rice, sugar cane, then Eli Whitney did his thing and cotton became king, they add. And we were its soldiers, 4 million strong, fighting for America's freedoms even though we remained America's slaves. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is entertainment. This is entertainment, folks. Slaves built this country, the team proclaims. The descendants of slaves continue to build it. And we, the descendants of... No, you're not. In America have earned reparations for their suffering and continue to earn reparations every moment We spend submerged in systemic prejudice, racism, white supremacy that America was founded on and still is not atoned for. Shut up, stop complaining, and move on with your lives, and maybe you wouldn't be stuck in a state of perpetual victimhood and blaming everybody else for the shortcomings and your problems that are nobody else's but yours. I'm sorry, my family was over in Europe getting slaughtered by the Germans in different camps over there, and getting starved in Russia. So please spare me the pity party. I'm frankly, I'm tired of hearing it. I really am. You know, like I said, there's more slavery now than there's ever been at any time in world history. It happened all over the world. You had tribes selling each other. You had people, the French, trying to stop slavery over there, but the tribes kept doing it and then kept selling to the Portuguese. It's this whole thing. And they just want to blame one group. Because why? Because it financially benefits them now. That's why. And this whole thing is just ridiculous. You're not getting reparations. California's looking at that. I mean, fuck. I can't even begin to describe the idiocy and lunacy that goes on the left coast. I can't, and I don't want to. Because I'm just a Midwesterner from a flyover state that doesn't know anything, which is what the coastal elites think, which is great because my life is exponentially better because I live where I live. So I don't have to deal with all the bullshit, which is amazing and great. But reparations is just a ridiculous concept. It really is ridiculous. Slaves built this country, not only field hands, but carpenters, masons, blacksmiths, musicians, inventors. We built cities from Jamestown to New Orleans to Banneker's, Washington. Sure. Built everything. Oh, here we go. 40 acres and a mule, then they question, referring to General William Tecumseh Sherman's 1865 proclamation allotting free slave plots of land no bigger than the reference size. A lone mule, which with the tillet, will take 40 acres, keep the mule. Asserting, we made your family rich, the team bellows. From the southern plantation heirs to the northern bankers to the New England ship owners, former presidents and current senators, the Illuminati, the New World Order, the last two being played off as a joke. Slaves built this country. We had Tubman, Turner, Frederick Douglass, their argument continues. Then they say Lincoln freed the slaves. An incorrect assertion is slaves were actually freed within the United States by the 13th Amendment, but the slaves were men and women, and only we can free ourselves, add the team. Jim Crow, segregation, redlining, public schools, feeding private prisons, where we become slaves again. Well, this is the thing about private prisons where you become slaves again. If you don't break the law, you don't go to prison. See, that's the thing. And I love this. See, victim. I'm such a victim. I ended up in prison for nothing. You don't go to prison for nothing. 99.99999% of the time, you do not go to prison for nothing. You might be arrested for something and that's later rescinded or, the charges are dropped. But you don't go to prison for nothing. You don't end up in prison for nothing. I'm sorry. Like I said, 99.999% of the time, there is that 0.1%, where somebody innocent go, but that's the extreme rarity rather than the norm. Drawing their performance to a close, the team recaps. As we celebrate Juneteenth for the umpteenth time, our account is still outstanding because this country was built on slavery, which means slaves built this country. We demand our 40 acres and a mule. You can keep the mule. You can keep the 40. We're taking our freedom. Well, sorry, you've been freed for how long, and what have you done with that? What have you done with that freedom? That's what, my ancestors came here with nothing. They were given nothing. They worked for everything that they got when they came across on the fucking boat and got off and had to have their name changed. And yeah, so they came here with nothing and we built what we have. So we did it ourselves. I'm not really too concerned with paying reparations to anybody when, like I said, do my descendants, do my family get reparations because of what happened in Europe? No, we don't. So spare me. Just spare me. Why aren't the Jews asking for Holocaust reparations? Nobody in my family's ever asked for that. We're Russian Jews. Nobody's ever asked for anything. We've never asked for a fucking dime. It's so ridiculous to think that one group out of every group in the world that suffered feels entitled to that. One. when there's, like I said, there's fucking slavery everywhere now, all around the world. And it doesn't just come in the form of that it did in the U.S. And it's like, why do we just focus on I understand we are the U.S., but it's like that is the only, any other kind of slavery is just like pushed aside because it's not what happened in the U.S. It's so illogical, and it just ignores facts, and it's ridiculous. Unsurprisingly, after being shared to social media, Slaves Built This Country segment drew mixed to say the least reactions. Planting themselves firmly on the critical side of the argument was Twitter user EndWokeness, who shared the clip describing its content as blatant anti-white propaganda, which it pretty much is. Conversely, the aforementioned voice actor, who found himself in support of Disney's efforts, best known for providing voices to an innumerable amount of memorable characters, including Cowboy Bebop's Spike Spiegel, Final Fantasy VII's Vincent Valentine, and numerous incarnations of Marvel's Wolverine, perhaps notably that of his X-Men Evolution counterpart, Blum replied to EndWokeness' tweet with this declaration: "I'm white and a voice actor who will probably never work on this show, and for the most excellent of reasons. Your tweet is blatantly racist." Oh my God. What a fucking cuck. "Your anti-woke rhetoric is dangerous and divisive," he added, ultimately affirming, "I full-throatedly support Disney Plus, the Proud Family, and my colleagues for doing this." What a cuck.
Soy boy beta cuck.
Again, this right here, this is Steve Blum. This is the man, he's in full support of giving his money to something he had nothing to do with. To people that weren't enslaved. Neither were their parents, nor their grandparents, nor their great-grandparents, in all likelihood. But hey, you know, we don't owe anybody anything. Like I said, my family came here with nothing after getting their ass tossed around fucking Germany or Europe, or around Europe, by the German people. So I'm not going to have, I'm sorry, I have zero sympathy for the reparations fucking crowd. I don't care. It's not that I don't care about the wrongs of the past. I don't care that you think you're entitled to money that you're not entitled to, that you have no right to. So spare me, please, the victim mentality, because that shit is not going to get you anywhere in life. It's going to keep you locked in a cycle of poverty where you're dependent on everybody else because you feel as though you're entitled, you should be given something when you should go out and earn. That's what it's all about, folks. And I'm done. That's it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't for more common sense takes on common sense issues that, well, common sense is a commodity that seems in short supply today, folks. But Steve Blum's an idiot. He is a weak, ineffectual, just pathetic excuse for a man. There's no reason to give these people, anybody, reparations for anything that you had nothing to do with. And the fact that a state is going to, you know, maybe California, I don't know if they're going to try to mandate like extra tax for this to come up with this, because it would create a budget shortage, obviously, no matter where. So yeah, I don't see this as realistic. And if they decide to try to levy this in the form of taxes, that's theft. That is straight up theft. The government is stealing from you, as if they are not already in the form of tax. A lot of the taxes that they charge us with, that go to just programs that are garbage. But I'm out. That's it. I'll catch you on the next one.